Hello, welcome back to my next video. Today I will be doing, I don't know how to start offending people, but I'm going to be doing an intelligence tier list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ranking types on different types of intelligence. So we're going to have this is from my last video, logical, mathematical, social, physical, and creative. According to its intelligence, we're going to grade how good each of the types is each one of these intelligences. So we've got 5 tiers. The first tier I like to say it's possible for anyone to be good at any type of intelligence. So no one's going to go in the not possible tier. I kind of just put this here for 2 reasons. One, so no one's going in the bottom tier. And well, no. I did one because it's possible for anyone to have the MBTI type. And two, it's two it's possible for anyone to have it's possible for anyone to be good at anything. That is definitely true. And two, it's because I wanted 4 tiers. Okay, so we start off, well, I could do the types in any order, but I'm just doing whatever order I want. So we will start off with, we're just doing order actually. So we start off with ENFJ. So ENFJ, honestly, looking at the function stack, this is a common theme for all extrovert feeling types. We have FB in either the 4th inferior function, or even worse, I'm making no video about the blind function or the blind function. I think that some types have, I'm not sure if the blind function you concept actually exists, but they have EFJs definitely have weak, always have weak TI. That's pretty much part of the type. They can develop it, so that's why they're unlikely and not possible. ENFPs, and it kind of depends on how much you believe the blind function concept. However, compared to other types, tertiary T can help a bit, but T is not really as helpful as TI, and we have no TI at all. So low T and no TI doesn't really make them the most logically intelligent type out there. At ENTJ is a lot more likely. They don't have TI on the stack, however, they are often quite good at it due to a combination of T and NI. And they also have T as a dominant and NI as auxiliary. NI auxiliary can definitely help. And T, even though I don't actually think T is that helpful for math, it's definitely not useless. They've got 2 pretty helpful functions, and together they can kind of create a TI-like thing. Okay, ENTP, and to NE, and TI especially, but even NE can help a bit. The SI is not great, but the combination of high NE and especially TI really helps them, and they have none of the weaker functions really harm them. Maybe SI a little bit, but FI, for example, doesn't really harm their ability to be good at maths. Maybe or mathematical logical intelligence. Maybe they could go like this, it's only the auxiliary function, but I think they just about go there. At ESFJ, once again, inferior FE, it's the same pattern. I couldn't put them above and not ENFJ. ENFJ is, if anything, have auxiliary NI, which is more helpful than tertiary NE. It's saying that auxiliary SI could also be helpful. I believe TI is the most helpful function, and then TE, NI, NE, and SI can all be somewhat helpful. I don't think FE, FI, and SI helpful at all. So in a way, you could argue ENPs can go here because they have NE dominant and FE tertiary, but they might, depending on what system you use, have TI blind, and TI is the most important function. So I can't really put them above other extra feeling types. ESFP, same thing. SE is probably not as useless as FE or FI, but still, it still goes in unlikely. At ESTJ, same thing as ENTJ. At ESTP actually goes below ENTP. I do believe NE and SI to SI axis is better than the SE NI axis for maths, and these guys don't have any NI at all. SE is not really helpful compared to the other perceiving functions, in my opinion. It's the least helpful out of any SE, NI, and SI, so they're only going likely compared to their intuitive counterpart. At INFJ, at out of the thinking types, them and maybe even ISFJ goes higher because ISFJ has SI, which might be better than NI. I don't know. SI, NI, and NE are all fairly equal, but they have a combination of dominant NI and tertiary TI really helps them be high in logical intelligence compared to the extrovert counterpart per se. And INFP have no TI, they have it as an 8th and one of the weakest functions. T inferior, and they have T inferior and NE is only the orcs. They have FI dominant. I guess NE to SI could help a bit, but really FI dominant still puts them in the unlikely category. Same thing with RSFPs. They're still not really going to go any higher than that. Just realised I don't think any types go in the possible category. There's actually quite a big gap between here and here. The bottom 6 are quite a bit adrift from everyone else. INTJ, this might shock some of you, but I honestly don't believe the type who doesn't even have introverted thinking in the function stack can go in the top tier. You must at least have T on your function stack to go in the top tier. I don't even have that, so I can't really put them in the top tier. They're not as analytical as INTP, RSTP, or even ENTP and ESTP are the next most logical analytical types. RSTP definitely top tier. Maybe not quite as good as INTP. They're probably second place below INTP this. ENTP would be third at a they're a very logical type. TI dominant and NI auxiliary both really help. However, no one can beat INTP. They've got TI first at NE second, which is the second most helpful function. Then you've got SI third, which might even be the next most helpful function. Then NI and TA are also the fifth and sixth function, so they're not that weak. And they've actually got decent NI and TA compared to other ISTP. They've got decent NI, TA, NE, SI. The three weakest functions are the three least helpful, and they're also TI dominant. Pretty much perfect. Like RSTJ once again at basically here. SI dominance, okay. T auxiliary helps a bit too. Yeah, just kind of there. And RSFJ, same thing. Except I actually think TI tertiary is really helpful and actually puts them 2 tiers above their counterparts. When most types either go in the same tier or one below their counterpart type. Like these guys are all in the same. ESTP is one below RSTP, but these guys are two adrift because the difference. I don't know. Maybe I'm being slightly too harsh to ENFJ, ESFJ. Maybe they could go here if they develop their inferior function. I'm honestly, maybe a 2-tier gap's a bit too big now I think about it, but still, maybe there should just be 3 tiers. But this is honestly what I get. In fact, maybe I could move all these types up tier. I also find it interesting that every type's in the same tier, so the intuitive and thinking counterpart. Probably because they've got their thinking and feeling functions and the most important things in the same position, except any ENTP and ESTP, all in the same tier. Okay, so the next tier is social intelligence. Now just pretend these said what they said before. Right, ENFJ, obviously top tier. The combination of FE, NI can read patterns and non-verbal cues quite well. FE can do that too. The combination of FE and SE is very charismatic, and I guess NI is pretty helpful too in some cases. At ENFP, okay, they have dominant at it's not really one function, but a combination of a P function, either SC or FE, SC or FE, plus SC or NE, plus SI equals FE like charm. So FE auxiliary type is actually really charming despite not having FE in the stack. They also to have that as a sixth function. It means it's not really weak, depending on whether you believe in unconscious functions or not. So I'm going to put ESFP in the same tier. I think SC is actually slightly more charming than NE because NE can be seen as most people are sensors, and SE is more charming to sensors and NE to intuitives, and 75% people are, or 70 to 75% people are sensors. It does tend to be ESFP more. ENTJ, honestly, I never really see them as a very social intelligent type, but can put them here. They have FE as a demon function, have a TI dom type. Yeah, TE and FE dom types are both very tribe orientated and very group orientated compared to EJ types actually have very good social skills, however it's not quite as good as ETJs and EFJs, which will explain why I'm putting ENFJ here. ENTP ENTP is definitely probably the most ranged type. Tertiary FA in general is very far ranged. Actually, some who are very charming, very good social skills, some who are almost INTP-like and being very socially unaware. It's quite a big range actually. I think any is a pretty good function for social skills. Maybe not, I don't know. But any combined TI is way worse than any combined FI. However, FE tertiary kind of saves them, unlike INTP. who I put in here. There's actually quite a big gap between these two types, so I'm quite surprised they're one tier apart. It kind of just works out like that. ENTP's top of tier 3, INTP's bottom of tier 4. There's a reason they're not in the bottom tier. But no, it's not even a fact. If I'm going to say bottom tier, it should be very unlikely. I don't want to say not possible. I'm going to say very unlikely. Unlikely. Possible. I feel there's going to be one charming ISTJ or INTJ out there. Likely. Very unlikely. No, very likely. There's a fair way to do it. So ISTP would go with INTP. If anything, is slightly better because SE is slightly better than NE. ESTP is definitely the top of the ET types. Love three go here. They actually have very good social skills in my opinion. Like they're very popular at school, for example. At INFJ, honestly, auxiliary FA really helps, but I don't really see it NI as that help. When I can be helpful, but I just don't. I think inferior SE is not that great either. And the INXX, even though it's a bit of a stereotype, the INXX stereotype is quite awkward. You know, they're definitely the least awkward of those types. Okay, INFP. I think ISFP goes here, INFP goes here. I think I think sensitive and intuitive types do split a bit. Because I think ESTP is above ENTP, ISFP is also above INFP. I do believe SE is slightly more charming, and these two types, it does make a difference in what tier they go in. Okay, let's be honest here. The FE blind types are absolutely in the bottom tier. I guess maybe no, RC is probably slightly better than INTJ. They're both definitely bottom tier. I'm not saying not possible, but it's very unlikely. They have to do it in a weird combination of functions. Okay, ISFJ is definitely the most socially intelligent introvert. And that's why I'm going to put him higher than the other introverted types in the top tier, second top tier. Because unlike the most introverts, they're actually very good at social intelligence. Despite being introverts. Okay, so now we've got to move on to physical intelligence. So, how am I doing? So, the top tier, ESTP, obviously goes in the top tier. I think it's very good at sports, very practical. They don't have TE, but they have SE and TI. That gets to a quite practical combination. I think SE is the most important function for this. I do believe, because FI is slightly worse than TI for this, that ISFPs possibly go a tier below the other types in this. Intelligence. I don't know if they do, to be honest, but they possibly do go below the other types in this intelligence. Now ISTJ is actually very practical, the combination of SI and TE. They don't have much SE, and that is enough to knock their counterpart down the tier. ENTPs and ENFPs have SE. Any DOM isn't really helpful. SE Demon is still better than INFP, who's FI DOM, who's got FI first, and SE Demon, and they've literally got no SE at all. INTPs have no SE, however, I do have to add the fact that they have TI as a dominant, and TI is actually quite helpful compared to, let's say, FI. I'm going to put them a tier above the very bottom. INTJ, I actually think the combination of TE and TE can actually be quite practical. Even though they don't have much SE, they still have it in their function stack. So I actually think they go third tier despite having FE as an inferior. But once again, INFJ, FE type goes slightly below the TE counterpart, as FE is as practical than TE. ENFJ at a tertiary SE, same thing here. ENTJ, kind of like ISFJ is the most socially intelligent introvert, or ESTP is the most socially intelligent thinker. For example, INFJ and ISFJ are the most logical thinkers, or ENTP and ESTP are the most logical extroverts. Kind of like that here. ENTJ is the most practical, physically intelligent at a sensor type. Intuitive type, I meant. In fact, you can almost even put them above their ESTJ counterpart, because they have no SE. No, you wouldn't. The ESTJ don't go below ISFJ. Still, they don't get any higher than that. ESFJ just go here. Fairly average in this intelligence, in my opinion. Not amazing, not terrible. They're the worst of the ES types, this intelligence, for sure. Out of ESTP, ESFP, ESTJ, ESFJ. Okay, so for the last intelligence is creative intelligence, and this is the one where there's so many different types of creativity. It's a combination of art, ideas, inventiveness, even combination of so many things, anything creative. Okay, so I think the NFPs are the most creative types, especially ENFPs. NE and FI are both very creative functions, especially NE. This also probably put ENTP in the top tier. NE dominant, TR is quite helpful too. But I think all the higher NE types, even INTP, all go in the top tier. And I do believe the higher NE types go above their INTJ INFJ group. I don't believe these two types to be creative to the top 4. However, I actually believe, and I'm putting a lot of types in the top tier, that ESFPs go here actually, but ISFPs very artistic, and SE can come up with some ideas, even if they are NE blind. The combination of FI and SE makes them very good at art, and I still believe that type that artistic intelligence deserves a spot in the top tier. ESFPs go a bit below because they don't value FI quite as much, but I also do think the combination of SE and FI can definitely make them very good at this. At ISTP, well, they don't stand out for this. TI and SE can work. They're both, I think every function except SIT and FE is very creative, and that's the issue for the SJ types. They have those are the top 4 functions. And okay, ENTJ these for TA, and I think FE is probably slightly more creative than TA, so I could put ENFJ just above. But once again, neither of these two types are as creative as other intuitive types, or even INTJ. NI Dom kind of helps, but when you've got at a T as your orcs, which is not a very creative function, FI Turk could help too, but I think the NI-FI type, the INTJ skipper, NI-FI, it would be very good because they use 2 very creative functions, but the generic, most common INTJ, the NITE one, in my opinion, there's 2 types of each type. I'm ranking the generic versions of each type, but honestly wouldn't be that skilled at this. Right. So ESTP probably goes here, probably a bit below the introverted counterpart, but I still go in the middle tier. INFJ is actually probably more creative than INTJ, so I think FE to TI can help them a lot. Then you get to the SJ types. Now, ESFJ can express an ISFJ. I think the combination of FE and SI can make someone quite good at, let's say, sewing. Sewing can make them quite good at sewing, let's say. So I actually think it can be in the 4th tier in this tier. I do believe that ESTJ can also TE first and NE third can come up with a lot of ideas and execute them quite well. ISTJ, however, even though they've got FI third, there's just not much creativity in them, for being honest, compared to other types. So probably the least creative type overall, and that's why they're going in the last spot on my tier list. So here, this is my final tier list for this, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.